All right. Back to German impulse. The last impulse we had activated these two corps. So, for starters, we're sitting on some very good cars. I'm going to point out these Army level cards are supplemental cards. So we'll play them today on the 17th. They will absolutely not be available on the December 18th turn. So that's going to be well, hopefully we get a lot done here on the 17th. I'm going to take this guy. I'm going to play this card because I had earlier started to bring this division down and around. So that is a activate all units in corps. Let's 1, 2, 3 is their full movement. Okay, 1, 2, 3. So now we have a strength of 9 that's not attacking across the river. We're going to go ahead and do an attack. These two pieces are attacking across the river. Those 6 points is cut into half, so that's like 3. So we have 12 points attacking 2. So we have 6-to-1 odds. I am not going to add any combat tactics. I'm going to save those. So let's start with that. That piece is subject to a card. All right. So this, for starters, this is the 8th Corps, 28th Division. This card does happen to be 8th Corps, but it's for 9th and 101st. Had this been the 28th Division, then there's a chance if there was a piece in the reserve box, there's a chance that piece would have deployed right there right now as an undetected defender. That's not the case. So we do go to the combat tactic. So they're going to have artillery, which is unfortunate. The minimum draw is 1. That's the strength on that piece has 1 dot. So we will pull our minimum 1 chip. Why do I keep putting those helmets in there? I see more in the bin. Oh well. All right. All right. Is the defender elite? No. Is the defender green? No. All right. So the maximum draw will be, it's got 3, 4, 5, and we have a piece with more than 2 dots. That makes 6. So I'm going to draw 5. So I'm going to do the full amount of 6 max. Let's get 5 out here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. Attacker is green because we have this piece with the white dots. So we're going to have to take a hit. Jeepers. It is greater than 1-to-1 odds. Defender is not green. Defender is not elite. Jeepers, this is terrible. Defender does have artillery. Attacker is green. Oh, good night. All right. So that was brutal. So the D1, the defender hit, is absorbed by the town. So that's it. Nothing happens to that piece. As the attacker, we have to take 4 hits. We'll point out in the rules, but I'm going to do it as 2 hits and disperse everybody. Attacker hits right there in the middle. The first hit incurred by attacking units must be applied as a step loss. Up to 2 additional hits may be satisfied by dispersing all attacking hits. All other hits must be satisfied by a step loss. So, for starters, we cannot do the same, we cannot take both hits in the same stack. So, for starters, I have to find the other piece. That's the 352. That one has another piece because it starts with so many steps. So there's a separate piece that has an R on there, meaning it's like a replacement piece. He is flipping from a 3-step unit down to a 2-step unit. Notice too, he's now gone from being green to normal. The white dots have become black dots. So, what are we doing this? So that's 1 hit. Put this in my tray. Put them up top of the board. And I have to take a hit from this stack. Does not matter. They're all the same type of piece, essentially. So that's the 2 hits, and I have to disperse all of those pieces. Oops, wrong color. All right, well, that was an epic fail. Okay, so that used 2 command value points. The other thing, I know I want to use this probably on the next impulse. LXVI. I'm going to play it safe. Remember, I left St. Vith exposed. There's another move I would have liked to make, but I'm going to go ahead and play this card and activate all units in LXVI. That's these peach-colored cards. So it's just going to be basically a movement. There is what's called German strategic movement. Let me find that rule for us. It's probably under 11. Tell you what, I'm going to speak to it. There it is. 11.6. So, as long as you're only moving on hexes connected by roads, you're not moving adjacent to roadblock, you may not enter allied town or city, you may not cross allied bridge, may not go further west than the westernmost unit, etc. If you're doing all of that, an armored or mechanized infantry piece, their movement is doubled. Infantry, it's increased by 2 to 5. So what that means is this piece, it shows a movement of 3, but as long as it abides by all those things, it can move up to 5. Oh, it doesn't matter because 1, 2, 3, he could have gotten there anyway. So yeah, I want to get that piece there. Now this one could move up to 10, as long as it stays on, abides by those rules. I'm going to use it to get a little protection up here. So we could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's go ahead and do that. I would not be allowed to move a 7th to there because I would be moving next to an allied piece. This piece is in the forest, so he's going to have to use 1 point to get on the road. At that point, he cannot use that strategic movement bonus because he's not starting on the road. But we'll at least be able to go 1, 2, 3. All right. So that was more of a precautionary move to make sure I kind of maintain a line of advance here. All right, so that's 4 command value points used. So now it's going to flip over to the allied turn. So they draw a card. We have the 8th Corps. So we do not have a special command event. Let's check for deploy reserves. It does say deploy all Corps reserves for the 8th Corps. There are none in the reserve box. Next, it says expedite reserves. If any units in the card's formation are in the calendar's next day space, right there we have the 101st. Okay. Such units are sent directly to the map if there's less than or equal to 2 cards in the German draw pile. It is empty. So these pieces potentially deploy directly to the map. Let's list them out in, so the 07 would be first, 07, 8, 13, 14. All right. They are most likely going to be deploying to the map. All right. We will be using method A. Their deployment area is, looking over on the map edge, this line to the south. Okay. So here. Okay, empty position hex in unit's core area, able to trace supply, German unit proximate. So we're going to care about these German unit proximate. Not in danger of surround, not in a German held city or town. Within 3 hexes, unit, same division. There is no 101st on the board yet. Within 3 hexes of a unit in the same corps. We have the 9th armored, so if possible, we'll be placing a piece within 3. I can tell you right now, we've got position here, 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 here. It could all potentially be used. Is 9th armored the only core piece we have on the board. Oh, I'm sorry. We also have pieces down through here. These two are also part of the same core. So if we look for German units proximate, let me get my little helmets. We'll need help with this. All right. So I had said that, I think are eligible because they're within 3. Let's make sure they're not in danger of surround. No, there's no way we could get a piece all the way back to here. He could go 1, 2, 3, 4. I cannot get a piece all the way to here in one move. That spot is okay. This spot is not okay because I could move a piece to here and I could move a piece to here. So this one's not eligible. This one, if a piece were here, I could get a piece here. 1, 2, 3. So this one is not eligible. Those two are. Now let's look down here. Within 3 of this piece, they're dispersed. They cannot move. Let me look up the proximate rule real quick. Unit is proximate to the target hex or unit if it has sufficient movement restrictions imposed by terrain, enemy zone of controls, roadblocks, as well as stacking limits in the destination and supply state are taken into account when determining proximity. I'm not sure, since this guy is dispersed. If he were not dispersed, we may have to assume that he was not dispersed. Because he could be, I could use a card that would activate him. The dispersal would come off, and a later turn he could move. I'm going to assume his movement counts, even though he's dispersed. So, of these spots, I'm proximate to that location. I am not proximate. Whoops. I'm proximate here. I am not proximate here. I could not move. 1, 2. No, he could not move there. So that's not valid. I do not have a piece proximate that could move there in one turn. This hex would be in jeopardy of being surrounded because I could move this piece here. We can't assume that roadblock would be there. So if we activated, we do a roadblock check. If the roadblock disappeared, this piece could move to here. I'm just taking a peek at these approximate rules. Oh, it does say two roadblocks are considered. I'm thinking the dispersed should also be considered, because it mentions supply state. Supply state could also limit your ability to move if you're out of supply. So this would be a, do I have a piece proximate? That's the question. 3, 4, 5. No, I do not have a piece proximate to that, so that's not valid. So that means we're looking at these two spaces, these two hexes. The next item is going to state we're within 3 of the same core, highest hold value. We have a 2 and a 4. Well, that's a no-brainer. So that piece, 101st Airborne, is in Hufelize. Okay, we go to the next piece. Again, empty position, core area, could trace supply, German units proximate, and the first, within all that, we're going to be looking for within 3 hexes of this piece if possible. So let's first consider we do not have a German unit proximate because the roadblocks would cause us to stop. Here is a possible hex. That one's not eligible because it's now next to an allied unit. We could move, we're proximate here. He could move here. He could move here. Again, those are within the 3 hexes. Not eligible. Okay. So again, if you go through all these rules, you're going to come out to looking at those 2 hexes. They're both within 3 of that. The next is going to be highest hold value, which is a 3 and a 3. And then it's going to be the westernmost hex. So it's going to end up being that one. Okay. Next piece we're checking. Same things again. It's going to keep extending this line. So we might as well look at, first off, can I get here with a piece? No, I'm not proximate to Bastogne. I cannot get there with one piece. That's next to an allied piece. I'm not, 1, 2, 3, I'm not proximate to that location. I am proximate here. This piece could go 1, 2, 3. That's probably the only, again, using this 3 hex from him, that would be the only valid position. Okay. And then our last piece probably will not get placed, because one could say, well, what about, oh, let me back that one off, because, oh, no, this piece could move there because you have to stop moving if you're on a road connected to that. So this piece could move to here, then to here. So yeah, that is valid. Let's just assume that roadblock was not there. Well, let's just assume we had a piece here. That would not be a valid spot because this core could not move there. If you follow this line over, it has movement restrictions. It cannot go below that line. Okay. So we would not have placed a piece here because none of these would have been proximate because they're not allowed to move there. All right, from here, I think we could put a piece here next. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's an empty position in the core area. It can trace supply. A German unit is proximate, not in danger of surround, not in a German-held city, not adjacent to Allied unit. Yeah, it does not say anything about not replacing a roadblock. It's not in danger of surround because he cannot get there. So yeah, the last piece goes to Wiltz. All right, so that was a very effective deployment by the Allies. Let me get rid of all these little helmets. I won't put them in my combat jar this time. All right. Discard. I'm going to stop this and resume it right away. All right, so now we're back to the axis. I last activated this core and that core. No, so I was hoping to have activated this core, but now the 101st Airborne has shown up. So in hindsight, maybe I should not have activated those, and I should have done my activation and attack with this core. That's okay. That's the fog of war. I did not know the 101st Airborne was just around the corner. I'm going to look up here and see if we can't do something about that piece. I've got these cards. Sixth Army and an Army Group card. I'm going to start off with this card. Activate one Kampfgruppe in the 6th Panther Army. You should read the rules to refresh on what a Kampfgruppe is. But I'll explain it as I do it here. All right, I'm going to do Kampfgruppe in the 6th Army area. So only units of the 6th Army will be involved with this. I'm going to place this chip here. So the Kampfgruppe means all 6th, in this case it's the 6th Army, all 6th Army units within 2 hexes of this are activated. So that one is not, that one is, these are, that is, that is. That is not, that is not. Okay. You can always move one hex as long as you're not going from enemy zone of control to enemy zone of control. So, even though he's got a break contact and there's a river, he is entitled to cross that river. Okay. This stack, that costs 3 points because it's the woods. And then they can't go any further because they don't have any movement points. So I'm setting this up to do a later attack on this. So now I'll be able to move this piece to here, this stack to here, and attack that piece. Is there benefit in moving this piece at all? I'm going to say there is. So it's going to be 1 to break contact. The hex it moves into is its second movement point, because infantry only costs 1 to enter woods. Its third point will be to move down the road to here. Okay. That piece. I don't know that I want. I could attack that from those 3 hexes. That would be 5 points. That would be 8, 11. Already lost count. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 to 5. 15 to 5. I would have 3, 4, 5, 6. Elite makes 7. It would be a large attack. He is surrounded. Since he is surrounded, he would not be subject to an undetected defender. He would be able to get a combat tactic. I say let's go ahead and attack. I'm not going to add any. Ooh, I could do a reinforce. No, no reinforce. Okay. Do we have armor? Yes, we do. All right, let's do it. So he's going to get to draw a card. Let's be a dud. All right, reinforce battle. In a nutshell, he's not going to benefit because you cannot move from an enemy zone of control into another enemy zone of control. So no matter what we do, pieces here are not allowed to move from here to here. Likewise, there's no way a piece here. So he's not going to benefit with reinforced battle. He's got 4 steps, 4 dots. So there's a minimum draw of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We have a blue, so our discarded chips go back in the bin. We'll give it a little shake. And the max draw was 7. I want to go ahead without even looking at these. Well, let's take a peek. 3 to 1. So we were, was it 15 to, let's see, it was 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14, 15 to 5. So we had 3 to 1. 3 to 1. I believe they are in the woods, so that nullifies it. There's no air power. It is a large attack, so that one counts. I'm just going to shove those aside. And it is 3 to 1. Oh, it's not a large attack unless I draw my max a number of chips. So we're doing that. I want 3 more. 1, 2, 3. Defender is adjacent. So the defender adjacent, you can see, there's pieces under here. Defender adjacent, just to refresh you. Applies if the defender is adjacent to a supplied non-dispersed friendly that is not yet attacked in the current impulse. So he's got another attacker hit. Attacker green, attacker elite. Yes, I do have an elite involved. So that one applies. There's no artillery. All right. So there's a total of 3 defender hits. The first is going to be absorbed by the town. Okay? So let's shove that up. That one has been taken into account. So now there's 2 hits. There's 4 steps. They've not retreated. It's 2 steps compared to 4, or 2 hits compared to 4 steps. If losing a step would cause them to exert no zone of control, retreat 1 hex, they would still have zone of control. Thus calculates the unit's hold chance. Hold value of hex, number of steps, 2. Hold value of the hex is 2. There's 4 steps in there. That makes it 6. Nope. They are surrounded, so it becomes 3. All routes would require a step loss because anywhere they retreat to, they will be in, oh, let me check that. If they retreated into the hex with their allied piece, into a hex occupied by a friendly unit in supply in enemy zone of control. That does not say remove a step, so no. All right, so it's 2, 6, 3. All right, so we roll. 3 or less they hold. It's a 9. So they're going to retreat 1 hex. Okay. So it's going to be item 2. Into a hex occupied by a friendly unit in supply in an enemy zone of control. Let's get rid of this Kampf group for marker. So this stack is retreating here. Go ahead and put them under the IP. Okay. That takes care of that second hit. Now there's another hit. We've not retreated 2. It's 1 hit compared to 4. We're not going to exert no zone of control. Calculate a hold check. So that hex has a hold value of 2. There's 4 steps. We don't count the one that was already there. So that's 6. Nope. He is not surrounded now because this hex here is not, is not in German zone of control. So we were at 6. Nope. They have retreated 1 hex, so now it's 8. The hold chance is now 8. It is 8. So apply a step loss. And it's going to say to do it to the lowest numbered unit, meaning you see the 15 and the 13. It's going to tell us to do it to the piece that's the 15. Okay, now they are now part of the IP. All right, now we have to take 2 attacker hits. I'm going to do 1 hit and disperse. Let's see. .3F has not yet taken any hits. I'll go ahead and give a second hit to the 12th there. Okay. And then I'm going to disperse all 3 of those stacks because I don't want to take another hit. It's almost end of day. And I was not going to be doing an attack down here, so that's okay. Those dispersals come off at the end of day. So I'm not worried about not being able to advance there just yet. Okay. Toss my chips aside. That used 4 command points. So it's the end of my German impulse. Next Allied impulse. Okay. It's the 16th. We'll be potentially doing an engineers. So we'll get our explanation out. Allied events, engineers. All right, conduct one of the following. Replace a roadblock so we've got 2 roadblocks. Okay. If we look that rule up again, which we did a couple impulses ago, it's going to say to look for a reserve piece from the closest, whatever. So the closest is the 8th Corps. There are no 8th Corps pieces now in the reserve box. Not even on the next day. And as before, none of these pieces can deploy on those 2 roadblocks because it's out of their deployment area. So now we move to the next. Place a roadblock marker in an unoccupied road hex. Hold value greater than or equal to 3 within 2 hexes of a supply German unit in communication. So we need to look at prospective in a road hex within 2 hexes. That's not within 2. So let's look for candidates. That's not in German communication because there's not a path to get off that map edge without going through Allied zones of control. Not roads. Unoccupied road. Hold value greater than or equal to 3. Within 2 hexes of a supply German unit in Allied and German communication and not adjacent to Allied unit. So this is in Allied communication because it can trace a path. You don't have to stop when you cross rivers. It can trace a path back. It's in Axis communication because it can also trace a path that way. Same with this hex. Oh, that's a German town. We're going to take a peek at the communication rules. Give me a moment. Okay. Hex or unit is in communication with the map edge. The hex may be traced in an enemy zone of control. That's where you're starting from. All right, communication and supply may not be traced through enemy town or city hexes. Okay, so that means Clairvaux is a German town. So the Allies cannot place a piece there or use that. There's no communication. Okay, I wanted to make sure that a German town does not exert a zone of control. Okay, so this is actually a valid spot for a roadblock to go up. Let's see if there's any others. On a road, would be not adjacent to an Allied piece. Nope, not valid, not valid, not valid. No, not valid. Within 2, so that is the spot. So a roadblock goes up there. So there's a chance an undetected defender would end up there next time we activate that core. All right, so that card goes discard. I'll do a quick save and resume.